Now, as we approach the end of the year, we've brought you a slew of analyst forecasts for the year ahead with their recommendations for where you should be putting your money. But what about those rare events, unpredictable ones that send shockwaves through the markets, but one bank believes they may not be quite as unpredictable after all? Saxo Bank just releasing its outrageous predictions for 2010, and its chief equity strategist, Blaabjerg, joins us now to explain them. Christian, thanks for coming in. I'm just going to go through some of these here, first of all. The renminbi, or the yuan, to be devalued against the dollar by 5% here. These are the more outrageous ones. Gold to fall to $870 the ounce. A third political party formed in the US, and sugar to drop by 1/3. Let's just go through some of those at the moment. I can buy the one, I suppose, in terms of gold falling back, because as soon as central banks tend to buy it, it tends to fall. What's your view?
Well, basically what's been driving gold higher is hedge funds and central banks buying up. After 30 years of selling, central banks has been buying up throughout the year, and that's made the gold rally. Plus there's almost a sort of speculative bubble. But we are on the upper end of the trend channel, and we believe we're going to retrace from here, going to testing the lower end of the trend channel at 870. However, we think there's a strong resistance there, and on a longer term, we are definitely very bullish on gold.
Really? So you see it falling back in 2010,
yes,
but then actually reviving?
Yes.
Okay, let's move now to the yuan. Everybody's saying it should be revalued, but you're suggesting a devaluation for it against the dollar. Why?
Well, as you see, the Chinese government has lately been trying to sort of stem the credit growth, because they acknowledge that we have a sort of a danger of creating a bubble. Plus the fact that when the stimulus package issued by the Chinese government is wearing out of the economy, we could see a macroeconomic backdrop. That's at least what we expect. And consequently, we would expect the yuan to be devalued, because the growth levels that we are used to from Chinese could drop back a bit.
Right, but we should also just add why you do this particular outrageous prediction survey. I mean, you're not saying that these are things which will happen. You're saying it's a 50-50, less than 50-50.
Less than 50-50. What we are saying is this is the black swans of financial markets. If they come through, they will be groundbreaking in the way the financial markets move. I mean, if we see a Chinese devaluation towards the dollar, we're going to see risk selling off. Most likely, and also if we see gold retrace, we're going to see some movements in other commodities as well.
But you're also suggesting perhaps a 22-25% appreciation here for the yen against the dollar. That's another one of your outrageous predictions.
What we're saying is that the US, in economic terms, have sort of put their cards on the table, showing, okay, this is how bad it is, and the markets has reacted. But looking at Japan, I mean, they have an exploding debt to GDP. They have an aging population. They have they have been out in the desert growth-wise for a couple of decades almost now, and it seems as if they're continuing down that road. So we see further trouble coming ahead of Japan, while we're seeing slow but improving U.S. data. So the point is, we think what's priced into markets now is skewed towards the dollar, and we could see a retracement, or actually we expect a retracement, and that will hit the yen.
Yeah, well, there's some here also which I just think are just totally outrageous. The U.S. trade balance to turn positive. Now that's not happened since 1975.
Okay, well, that's an outrageous one, but it could come true. I mean,
anything could.
Yeah. I mean, it's a low probability. What we're pointing at is there are some structural factors that actually, where markets should attach a larger probability to these black swans than what's currently priced in. What we're saying is, if the dollar continues higher or continues the current levels, it will drive exports higher and most likely also lower imports, and that could make the U.S. trade balance turn into positive.
Well, from the outrageous, totally outrageous, to ones which are fairly obvious in your view, and that's that the U.S. Social Security Trust Fund is going to go bust.
Yes. What we're seeing is that this trust fund has been, the money in it has been used for other purposes for a long time, and now there's no money left. So they need to increase taxes in order to put money back in the fund, or at least to finance its purposes. What we're saying is it will be it will be sort of publicly known since it's going towards the federal budget.
And on that graphic, we just had the last one there, which was the American people really disgruntled with the political system, forming a third party, but not an end to bipartisanship.
Well, what we're saying is that this sort of Ross Perot scenario is very likely. We've seen the American public being very harmed by the fact that all these big bailouts has been done, especially within banks and also other huge companies, while they're still paying out especially in banks, in the bonuses on the size that they used to prior to the crisis. And our point is merely that when people are faced with high interest rates on their bank accounts, while they're seeing these things happen, it could turn into a political movement.
Christian, thank you so much for joining us. Christian Blaabjerg there. He's from Saxo Bank with that outrageous predictions for 2010.